June 1st, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Last fight won by Tika. Bareknuckle Brooke.
Hello, my name is Brooke Evans, and this Sunday, June 1st at 4 p.m., I'll be on D Hall in the People's Show. We'll be discussing my upcoming BKFC debut, as well as some other stuff about me as a fighter. So make sure to bring your questions and comments. It's going to be a great show. This has been a J. York production. See you guys then.
In North Carolina, there's only one podcast. The podcast of the people. We report the news. We report the opinions. We give the people a voice. We give the people the plug. Plug into the People's Show. A J. York production.
Hello to everybody. It's another Sunday, and we're back. Pretty good week this week. We came on Thursday. Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, it was a time Thursday. It's a great show Thursday with James Horton, a celebrity boxing. This match coming up June 14th. In case you missed that show, go check it out. Good to have y'all. Thank y'all for coming here today. We got a young lady for the very first time through my man Charlie Trinity. So we said, go check her out, man. Give her a try. And I said, okay, let's do it. Bareknuckle fighting. That's interesting. I was looking at that. Some fight I was looking at, and I was like, man, how do they take those punches like that? You know what I'm saying? But look, we're gonna get right down into it. Y'all share the video. Yeah, that's what y'all do now. Y'all gotta share the video right now. I'm gonna be sharing it too. So we gotta have you doing your thing. You gotta work. This is an online program that is the work and talk of discussion. This is an online talk show that educate adult audiences. Parental advisory is advised. Some things may not be edited for children. So if you would, we say some bad words up here sometimes. You dig what I'm saying? We say some bad words, but it's all in good content though. It's all in good content. Share the video. Let me see. Give me about 60 seconds here. Cause I gotta reach out and see what's going on. I got to get my stuff together here. It's all ready together. It's just that I got to make sure I'm getting it out to the people. Okay, there we go. I want to talk about this just for 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Did anybody see the fight last night? Caleb Plant fight? Wow, it's an upset there, man. It was a total upset. But you gotta. That's the name of the game, man. It don't take nothing but a winner that wants to win. That young man, Rosado, he wanted to win. Yeah, he did. Great fights. It was on Prime last night, so that's where that was at. Okay, let me get ready. We got a show to do today. Let's get it done. Let's get her in here. Let's get her in here. Let's talk to her. Bareknuckle. We're gonna learn something today. We're gonna learn something today. Hey, what's happening?
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I thought I was going to be home for this today, but I'm not home right now, but that's okay. It'll still work.
That's fine. Yeah, it'll work. We're gonna make it do for the next 30 minutes while you're here, or while we got you, maybe a little bit longer. We'll see. But before we get started, I want you to tell the people who you are and where you're from.
My name is Brooke Evans, and I'm from Florence, Kentucky, but I train in Cincinnati, Ohio, at Rob Bradford's boxing.
Okay. Train out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been through there quite a bit going, because I go up to Michigan up that way, so I have to go there. So my parents live up there. Well, my father's passed away, but my mother lives up in Michigan. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. We're going to learn something today about you, about yourself, and your story. What's happening, James Horton, Celebrity Boxing? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. We're going to learn a lot about you, and we're going to learn also about Bareknuckle boxing. We also going to learn about your life story, because everybody's got a life story to tell, because there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's never an end, because it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. So that's how that rolls. Brooke, your life story. Let's start right here. Let's start in this way here. You had some issues, as everybody does. I mean, everybody have issues. Everybody goes through something in life. But you had, your drugs, you had other things related to that. But explain to me, how did you get yourself into that situation?
How did I get myself into like all the problems and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not on purpose, okay? I didn't, never in a million years thought that my partying and stuff like that would ever take a turn like that. So I'm 38 years old. And when I started partying and stuff and all that, in high school, all that, I was always a partier, right? But back then, addiction, alcoholism, all that just wasn't talked about as much. There wasn't the big heroin epidemic that we had, and all that. So it was back in the day, and I guess it wasn't talked about, so there wasn't a lot of awareness of it, is what I'm trying to say. So it was almost like I didn't know that I had a serious problem until it was like way too late, if that kind of makes sense. But I would say it just kind of, honestly, it started in an innocent kind of way, really, with just partying and drinking, and I do know that I think there's like some genetic stuff that can come into play, and I was always somebody that when I drank, I probably always drank too much, even when I was young, like looking back, I'm not kidding, looking back, I'm like I was thinking about when I was like, I was like a sophomore, okay? I was like a sophomore, and I'm drinking Bacardi 151, okay? Because that way I don't have to drink as much beer. And I'm like, just stuff like that, little things that I reflect back on, and I'm like, that was probably a sign,
Yeah.
But I would say that's really how it started.
Okay, so you was into that heavy stuff, man. You said, heck with the beer, man. Let's roll with that. I want to say hello to I think this gentleman here, you probably know, Lou is it Lubros? What is it? Corolles? I can't say the name. He said hello to you. Thanks, Brooke. It's Lumbros. Lumbros? Yeah. Well, I don't know. He knows you anyway. He said he's been there too. He's been there in a part of what you're talking about. But anyway, we're going to move further here. Sometimes that drinking and going through that, we're just touching a little bit on your life story, because the people here, they want to know how your background is, and I also want to know how it is too. Also, but it led to other things. You being locked up in jail. You went through some hard times. You made it though. Tell me, what was it like for you then through those hard times, and how did you stay mentally strong?
It was rough, and I think there was a learning curve to staying mentally tough, to be honest, because when I first started getting in trouble and stuff like that, right, it would be 30 days in jail, a couple weeks, stuff like that. I think I've been to, oh my God, altogether about 20 some different treatment centers, and that's inpatient, outpatient. That is some outpatient stuff, and things like that. But like, for example, the first time I ever went to a long-term rehab, right? It was supposed to be, I think, 9 months. I only lasted 5. I ended up taking off and leaving. And mentally at the beginning, when you're dealing with all that stuff, it was definitely a struggle. And 2, you got to think at the beginning, I didn't think my problem was as bad as everybody else thought it was. And so that was hard because I guess I wasn't really necessarily like in the acceptance phase of what was happening in my life. So when you're fighting it and you're fighting everyone and everything and just all of that, it makes it really hard, you know. But I did get to a place eventually where I could really see that like I was the problem, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm the problem, right? And when I was able to see that, I became much more like, I guess you could say like strong-minded. I could accept my consequences better because I knew it was my fault, you know? So then I just kind of was like, well, this is what it is and this is what I've done and I'm just going to have to deal with it, you know?
And that's what I like. And then I'll shout some people out here in a few minutes, but that's what I like what you just said. I like what you said when you said you had to accept that you was wrong. And that's hard for a human being to do. You know, it's even hard for a little kid to say, "Oh, I did it." Of course, he's not going to say it. He or she's not going to say it anyway. But but as a human, as a grown adult, we have to accept some things, and that's what makes a difference. And that's how you improve and get better. And you showed that, and you just said that. So that makes me think that hey, her mind was on the right track, you know, and accepting what she did wrong and what was going on. I want to say hello to Tony Burgess out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, my longtime friend. Tony is the owner of Burgess Watson and Fitness in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Wanda Johnson, hello to you. Jerry Thompson, what's happening, my man? Out of that New York area. Jerry's got a podcast also, so he's watching me. He's trying to be like me. He's going to be like me. That's what it is, Jerry. What's up, Jerry? The grind one. I think that's what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong, there, Jerry. Did you ever, Brooke, feel like that you was going to relapse and go back? And if not, how did you overcome that?
Oh, so the first time, so I told you I went to a lot of treatment centers, been to jail a whole lot of times, short little stints, all that. Okay. So once I reached a point, because I'm not going to call it relapsing, to be honest, I don't think it's like fair to say that I relapsed all those times because I didn't want to be sober at that time. So I was trying any way to kind of make people happy, like make the courts happy and still kind of try to use or whatever. So, so those weren't really relapses, but I can say that when I finally decided that I really truly want to be sober and I realized, hey, I am the problem. It's me, you know, and all of that. That's when I was in this treatment center for 9 months, and every fiber in my body wanted to be sober, and I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do, you know, I wanted to do the thing, you know, and I ended up relapsing when I got out, and it was like and I think it's really important that people aren't too hard on themselves when they do have relapses, because the truth is, if you live through it and all of that, and like it was a learning experience, right? Because I learned, that's where I learned that I can't do anything. People that are in recovery, everybody's recovery looks a little different. Some people maybe just drink still and they just don't do drugs, or they just smoke weed or whatever. Well, I had to learn the hard way that I'm somebody, I can't do anything. So I had that relapse. It was actually on like some diet pills, you know. When I got out of this rehab, I wanted to lose a little weight, and they were kind of equivalent to Adderall. But anyway, so ended up relapsing, and in fact, that relapse is the one that ended up landing me in jail for almost a year.
Wow.
Yeah, but like it was interesting, because I'm the type of person, if I put anything in my body, any mind altering substance at all, it's almost like I lose the ability to make good choices. I really do. So that's why I just am complete abstinence. So that being said, so since that relapse, then I was in jail for that time, and you know, that did me a lot of good. It really did. But since I've been out, I wouldn't say that I've necessarily had any moments where, I mean, no, that's not fair. I guess I have had little moments where
Yeah.
maybe it's more like your mindset and it's your mentality and what's going on. So like I've learned
Right.
about myself, like I can't get in those pity parties. I can't, sit there and feel sorry about myself, or I just can't stay in a bad depressive or mental state for too long, because even if
Right.
my first thought is not to use, I know about myself that eventually it might be. Does it make sense?
Okay,
I don't
got it.
know.
Got it. Great answer there. I like that. I want to say hello to some people. I love my people. It's the People Show. They support me. I want to support them. Paul Capoutier out of New Jersey, that celebrity boxing, part of that celebrity boxing rugged promotions. Good to see you, man. Thank you for coming in. We're here live with Brooke Evans. Shout out to my man, D Free Sports Talk, another podcast. These podcasting cats are coming in today, man. What is it? What is it today? It's good to see y'all. Thank you for coming in. My man D Free Sports Talk, always sticking around, hanging around. We see you, man. We're live here with Brooke Evans, Bareknuckle fighter. We're learning a little bit about her history, what she had to go through, and what she had to cope with. February 2020, you got out of jail and came back, back out into the world and society, and became a productive person. Explain a little bit to me what you did to be productive as a human being.
Okay, so when I got out of jail, first of all, I took suggestions, right, of people that were living their life sober and doing things, and so that was the first thing. People told me, like I went into a sober living, and then from there I ended up, I went back to work and stuff like that. And it's so weird because when I talk about this stuff about recovery, it's like things that don't sound like a big deal to everybody else, like getting a job, working, and just paying bills. That is a huge feat for somebody that has been getting high for years and years, So it was like, I mean, so I started off small and I set small goals for myself. And I think that was the smartest thing for me to do, was to set those small goals, because in the past I would be like, I want all these things back, like right now, and when you set the smaller goals, like working, I ended up going back to school. Like I set small goals, and when I would accomplish them, it helped to build my self-worth, because I was coming from nothing. I was coming from the bottom. I had no self-worth. I thought I was incapable of working 40 hours a week, or just taking care of myself and my son and all of that. I didn't think I could be financially responsible for us, because I had never been before. And so the biggest thing I did was I set small, very attainable goals for myself. And I just took one little step at a time. And eventually those goals got bigger and bigger, like I ended up graduating college, right? I finished college because I had almost finished a long time ago. But anyway, so with, sorry,
it's okay. We know things happen.
So after that, I ended up getting a job working at a rehab center, which was awesome, using my degree. So something funny though, I will tell you this. So about a month, maybe 2 months after getting out of jail, I immediately got back into boxing. And I do think that was something that helped me a lot, like a whole lot. Gave me focus, gave me that discipline. I don't know. It was great. I had my first fight as an amateur, and I had only been out of jail, I think it was like 4 or 5 months, and I went back to it, and because I hadn't fought since I was like 21 years old, I think would have been my last fight. And at this time I was about, I don't know, 33, something like that. So I had taken a very, very long time off, but that's something that helped me a whole lot, was getting involved with a hobby and getting reconnected with something that I had loved so much in the past.
Wow. Outstanding. All right. All right. That's great. What a question. I think we got a question here from, let's see who that is. That was Paul Capute. Paul says, do you fight for David Fieldman? David Fieldman, I don't know. She doesn't fight for David Fieldman. We're going to get her into the boxing here. We're getting ready to get into that right now. Well, the bare knuckle boxing, we're getting ready to get in that right now, Paul. Paul says, God bless you. Not too many people make it. Yeah, it's true. Tony Burgess says, stay strong, young lady. Telephone number is running across the bottom if you'd like to call 919-410-8736, or you can call through the messenger if you want to ask the question or just say hi, hello. Yeah, or you just want to talk to me, just to say something. No doubt. Brooke, we all have big challenges. What was the biggest challenge that you had to face, and how did you overcome it? What was your biggest challenge, and how did you overcome
the biggest challenge I've faced? Is that what you?
Yes.
Definitely. Getting sober, for sure.
Okay.
And like I told you, that was just it was just been a learning process and was a learning process, and I just kept trying too. That's another thing. You have to keep trying. You can't give up. You know? But that's without a doubt the biggest challenge.
Okay. Yeah, we just wanted to get that out there.
Like somebody just said, not a lot of people make it. You know, it is not easy, and it's a hard realization when you are trying your hardest to actually get sober and you realize how hard it is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
True. Lumbros says, very true. Addicted feel like they need to make up for lost times, and just like you said, the small goals are the biggest accomplishments. Mm-hmm. So true there. That is very true. Very true.
That's true.
Jay York is here. One man, Jay York, how you doing? Glad to see you. Jay is just arrived. He just pulled up in his limousine. I want to say what's happening to my man. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get right into it. We got a little bit of your background, your life story, and you also have a wonderful kid. We'll touch on him here shortly. But let's get into the boxing here. The bare knuckle boxing. Let's get into that. How did you get introduced into bare knuckle boxing?
So actually, it's funny because I didn't necessarily I didn't search this opportunity out. It kind of came to me, which I'm so grateful for that, right? Because I know a lot of people will go to the tryouts and they do a lot of that stuff, right? Because they have the bare knuckle, the BKFC tryouts and things like that. I was lucky and I'm grateful enough that somebody that his name's I guess you could kind of say he's kind of like my manager. He's like the middleman to help me navigate through all this. But anyway, he had reached out to me through social media, and it was actually before my last boxing fight. It was before that, and he reached out and he was like, would you ever be interested in doing fighting for the BKFC? And I was like, and in my mind I'm like, because at this time I'm like, I don't know, that sounds extreme. And I'm like, I was like, yeah. And to be honest, I think at first I didn't even know if it was real. I'm like, okay, maybe he's, but anyway.
You thought he was joking?
Yeah, well, no, well, sometimes it's like, well, I'll tell you. So this is so long story short, I have that fight. Yeah, I'll explain it because it's like, because I have actually, so I do fight for David Feldman, the owner of BKFC. So that's why I signed my contract. And this is the part.
You're right. I'm sorry. That is right, because I think his brother owns the BFCK. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the BKFC. So So anyway, so he'd reached out to me, asked me that, and then after I had that fight, and I put on a good show, and it was a TKO, and all the great things, and he reached out to me again, and he goes, I actually want to schedule a call with you and David, so we can talk about this contract and stuff. And I think I was still a little skeptical. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm not, because I'm like Googling David Feldman. And I mean, he's a big deal, and I'm like, I don't, sure enough, it was like a few days later, we set up this conference call, and here I am talking to David Feldman, right? And discussing kind of what my path is going to look like, what they are willing to kind of help me out with, or just what it's all going to kind of look like. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, with my age, I'm 38. And I kept saying with my pro boxing, my biggest thing, I was like, I just want a really cool experience. I wanted even like to, be the underdog in a fight for, on Top Rank or something like that, or be on TV, just something was all I was really looking for. And then when this opportunity presented itself, it almost catapulted me to that spot where I could do that, So I was like, I jumped on the opportunity because it's a great one. And they wanted me. I was gonna do a 5-fight deal at first, or they offered me a 5-fight deal, and I decided just to do a 3-fight deal, just to kind of see, just to get my feet wet with it.
Okay. Let me explain this to the people, because I made I got to correct myself. Yes, it's Damon. Damon is Celebrant, owns the Celebrant, and I think his brother is the one that owns the BFC. What is it? Bare-knuckle boxing.
BKFC,
yeah, BKFC. Yeah, I think his brother is the president or something like that. In that sense, just want to correct that, because they are two brothers there that does that. And I think Damien did tell me that one time. But yeah, that's what it was. I think that was Paul was asking that question. Okay, here we go. Charlie Stafford is here. My man, Charlie, what's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming on and watching the show. Jerry Thomas said he is back. Yeah, for sure. Jay says he's loving your workouts. You're a tough fighter. You're a tough fighter, so he's loving your workouts. You did some. Now, you did some amateur fight. Now, was that boxing, or was that,
Oh, it was boxing.
Fight? It was boxing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it was boxing.
Okay. I gotta ask you, because I didn't know. I said, well, she must have been doing some boxing along the way somewhere. So,
it's all been boxing. All my stuff, all my stuff's been boxing. I mean, I did have one random MMA fight, so just kind of for fun.
So you did boxing, but with bare knuckle is your knuckles, and I think what you got like a hand wrap on or something like that. Am I correct on that?
It's just your wrist. It's like your wrist right here, and then just a little bit of your thumb. But all this is all open. There's nothing there at all.
And you like to take a hit like that?
Well, yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't had my debut yet. I've been in a couple of street fights. I've been in some street fights, and but I feel like those are a little different, because the girls that I got into it with, they probably didn't know what they were doing.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, I'm asking that question because I'm just now really getting into the bare knuckle stuff and watching it, and it looks brutal. Shit, man. I mean, somebody busting your face up, and I seen people's eyes pop out the freaking head, man. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
And I will say that, well, no, I can't. I was about to be like, the men seem to look a little rougher, but that's not true. I've seen some of the women fight that look pretty rough too. But let me tell you something. But I can say this. So the fights that I've seen, like with the women, and their faces are just all messed up, right? And brutal. There is no head movement involved, right? They're not moving their heads. They're standing there, they're trading, and there's absolutely no head movement. I like to think that with my boxing and my head movement and things like that, it's gonna be I ain't gonna when I first started, even back however many years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, my first fight back in a fighting amateur, I stood there, right? And I'm just throwing, and I'm just going back and forth. It's like who can hit each other the hardest, the most. I do not fight like that at all, and I haven't fought like that in a long time. And my coach wouldn't have let me turn pro if I fought like that, So, so I like to think that that's going to it's going to prevent some of the damage. Obviously, you're going to get caught and stuff like that, but that's kind of something I noticed, because I did a lot of research on it after I got offered that, and I was looking at it, and I did notice, I'm like, well, these girls that have their face just terrible looking, they're just standing there. They're just taking punches. And that makes that's logical sense, because it's just like I was looking at the fight last night, Caleb Plant, and he stays what they call straight on the line. He's not moving his head, he's pulling straight back, because he's catching a lot of punches. Exactly what you're talking about, and it works. And no matter what kind of combat sports you're in, it doesn't matter, MMA or boxing, whatever. If you keep your head straight on the line, it's gonna get hit. But at least if you do feints, go side to side, that's called missing, making the person miss, Exactly.
James, so that makes a lot of sense, because it adds up. Wow. And let's talk about, because a lot of people, I'm going to speak on these young ladies right here, and you probably heard of them, two of them, I know you heard of, and they're in bare knuckle boxing, Brittany Hart and Taylor Starlin. They're at the top of the elite. If I'm not mistaken, they're in the top 10. Matter of fact, I think Brittany's from Virginia, and I think Taylor's from South Carolina. Tony, correct me if I'm wrong on that. If Tony's still up here, I think she's from South Carolina. But those girls I watched them, and I mean, they are competitors. Matter of fact, her trainer has been on my program, and we're good friends. We did some commentating together at a boxing match. But those are some of the girls that I know of that are very competitive. I'm not saying that the other ones aren't, but they are some of the stars of that bare knuckle boxing, shall I say. Typical day. What is your typical day for you training and what it's like for you?
So it just depends if I'm in fight camp, which I thought I was going to be fighting June 21st, but it looks like it might get pushed out a little bit, which is fine. You know, good things come with weight, right? So no sense in rushing my debut with them. But when I am in camp, my training is a little different than when I'm not in camp. But I usually typically always go to the gym at least 5 days or at least 6 days a week. I'll give myself 1, maybe 2 rest days a week. I do my road work, running. I like to do a lot of sprint interval stuff. I did get really involved with swimming there for a little bit, and it was great. I would really should get back into that because it's a lot easier on my joints and everything and my back and all that stuff. But and I'm in the gym sparring usually 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Okay. I like to travel to spar. I like to go to Cleveland a lot. There's some amazing women there and some girls there that are great work. Good. Columbus, I've been there. West Virginia, I've gotten there too. Good.
That's good because you need to get out and expand yourself in different sections of the world. If you're doing bare knuckle boxing and then you reach your competition, it makes you better as a fighter, as always. Lubris, I'm not going to read it all, but in a sense, he says you have let's see here. That's a big paragraph there. You have fresh advice for those who listen. It can be super difficult to stay clean, and the message you brought today came at a much needed time. Staying balanced is so key. Stay humble. Always know your worth. Much love from Detroit. That's my second home. Yeah, he's from Detroit. What's up, man? Boxing there. Yeah, great fighters come out of there. Thomas Hearns, all those great fighters out of there. Manuel Stewart, the trainer. What's your ultimate goal? You have a goal in mind, and I think I know what it is, but I want to hear you tell the people what it is. As a person, what is your ultimate goal? We're just going to push the bare knuckles away. What is your ultimate goal as a person?
My ultimate goal as a person is to be a good person and set a good example for my son. You know, just be a good friend to people and just like I said, just be a good human, right? And that's kind of that's just how I want to be as a person. But I would love to. I like to help others and give back, and I really would like to use all of this stuff that's happening with the the followers that I can get from this BKFC stuff and all the what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean? Like you start to as you're starting to kind of make a name for yourself in some of this stuff. I want to use all of that for the good and try to make connections to start a nonprofit organization would be awesome. That way I can tie in stuff with the with recovery and kids that their parents are in active addiction or dealing with things, or even foster kids, because a lot of the children that are in foster care, it's because their parents are in active use and stuff like that. And so I would love to give an outlet for these kids or other people like me that are in recovery, and be able to come to a gym and train and work out. Because like I told you, when I got out of jail and I got into boxing, it helped me so much. And I see people a lot that are in recovery and stuff, and they don't have any hobbies. They don't, they don't even know what they like anymore. And it's one thing to be sober, but it's another thing to really live and enjoy your life,
That's it. That's it. Amazing.
So
that's it.
I would really like to do something like that. And because another thing is, because because right now I work as a case manager part-time at a treatment center. So I help with resources and stuff. And then I also do private sessions for boxing. And I can't tell you how many adults or I'll get some kids and I find out and they won't even know that their parents won't even know that I'm in recovery or anything, but come to find out, you know, their dad just went to jail because he relapsed so it's kind of cool because today I'm already working
Tied
with that.
That.
Yeah, it's already happening. But the thing is, like, you know, these private sessions and gym memberships, they're not cheap. So I want to make it where the kids don't really have to pay and that the nonprofit through sponsorship and stuff like that covers these camps or whatever I want to do. That way.
Yeah.
It's
Awesome.
easy
That's
for people to access.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's awesome right there, man. That's a wonderful thing there. And then you've been, like you said, you've been tied already into that. You know how to go up doing that along the way. You're 38 years old. How long do you think you're going to be able to fight?
No, a couple more years. I don't know. So there's so that's another thing with the bare knuckle women. You brought up Britain. Her name it's easy to say Brittany, but it's Britton Hart, and then you brought up Taylor Sterling, Starling. So there's also a woman, Beck Rawlings. She is my favorite. If you were to watch her do bare knuckle, she looks like a boxer. The head movement, all that. So I want to say she's in her 40s, and then Christina Ferreira, she's a powerhouse. You know, she's like got the belt, I think, for 125. I want to say she might be. I know for a fact there's a few that are like 44, 43, 42. And yeah, it's like, so, I mean, I guess I'm just going to do it till I can't anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So how's the well, you don't know yet because I was getting ready to ask you about how is the pay, but you don't know yet. So we'll touch up on that the next time around.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of know, I guess you could say, a little bit through my contract and stuff, and it is good. You know, the pay is definitely good.
Okay.
I'll put it this way: it's better than anything I would have made in pro boxing for my age and my record. You know, all of that stuff.
Right. Okay. So you did a little bit of boxing, and you said you spoke on some women's name there, but overall, who's your favorite boxer?
Holly Holm. That's easy. Holly Holm. Yes.
Holly.
I would love that. Yeah, I think she's awesome.
Great. Yeah, she's making a comeback if I'm not mistaken. She's coming back.
Her. Yeah, I mean, her boxing was obviously amazing when she did the MMA stuff. You know, went to MMA. Yeah. She's all the kickboxing stuff. I really like her because of the way she is I follow her on social media and all that, and just the way she is, she seems so down to earth. She's so humble. I love her because how humble she is, and she's not somebody that has to sit there and, you know, get all the shit talking and all that stuff. She just lets her talent speak for itself, and I admire that. Wonderful, the ones that run so much, that stuff gets on my nerves. I don't know why, but I'm just like, okay, you know, if you're good, just show it. You ain't got to talk about it all the time. Yeah,
man, great. You spoke about your son, and I know he's a big part of your life. What is it that you and him can have a great relationship? What do you think about you fighting, getting punched and stuff?
You know what? Like, he likes it. I mean, I don't want to say okay, if I was to get hurt, obviously, you know, I'm sure that would, but he's like my biggest supporter. You know what I mean? Even when I told him I was doing the bare knuckle, right? And he's researching and he's looking at it and stuff. And the boy's smart, you know, because there was somebody was saying something to him about it, and they're like, I forget, but he brought up the point. He's like, well, you can't even throw all your punches as hard as you can because you got to worry about breaking your hands and stuff, which is so true, you know? So he kind of like had my back on it and was like, she's going to be fine, you know? And he likes it. I think deep down, he likes it. He does.
Great. That's great. How old is he?
He's 15. He's about to be a sophomore.
About to be a sophomore. Has he thought about getting into any combat sports himself?
Yeah, so he does wrestling now, and so he got into wrestling. He did a little jujitsu stuff. I got him involved in that, but that was still when he was a little younger. it seemed like anytime it was my idea, he was kind of like, so I've just let him figure out his own stuff that he wants to do. And he's like, he went from not doing a whole lot of sports and stuff to doing it all. You know, he's doing football now. He's doing track, wrestling. Oh, sorry. My bad.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We winded it down anyway. Good. I'm glad to see that he's into that, and he supports you along the way.
Hold on one second.
Sure.
I couldn't really hear you.
Yeah. I said what I was saying. I was glad that he supports you along the way and what he's doing. That's good. You know, to be behind you like that, because I know he said, "Man, my mom's going out there and she's gonna get busted up."
Yeah, he's awesome. He really is. And you want to talk about resilient? You know, I mean, that little guy, he's been through a lot with my struggles and all that stuff. So I love to see him. And you know, I used to be really hard on myself about everything with that, and I had a lot of guilt. And I still do. I don't think that will ever just go away. But I have the realization that, you know, it's like, even though I wasn't perfect and I made a lot of mistakes and all that, you know, I think like I can set an example that it's okay if you mess up and if things happen, as long as you like keep trying, and that you can turn, like I'm an example to him of like turning your life around, right? And doing better.
Exactly.
So I think
that's awesome.
It's in a way he's taken it and used it for the good. You know, he's a great kid. He doesn't party. He doesn't do any of that stuff because he's seen it all through me, and he's seen what it can do. He's seen the consequences, and you don't want no part in that stuff. You know.
Good. That's wonderful. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Tony says keep him busy. Yep. So, before we get out of here, so you're working on a fight. You're not for sure about when it's going to be, correct?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I know it'll be in the next couple months. You know, it'll be soon.
Okay. Well, how can the people follow you? Because they're gonna, you know, they want to see who you are, know about you, and talk to you. So how can they follow you?
You can get on. I'm on Instagram as Bareknuckle Brooke. You can follow me on there. That's probably the best way. I also I have Facebook and stuff like that, but I would definitely say Instagram would be definitely the best way.
Okay, Instagram. Yeah, y'all go. If you're on Instagram, go check her out. She's over there, and she's doing her thing. She's signed with. Let me get this right, because you know I've been saying this wrong all evening. BFK. I guess it all to it. BK. Yeah. BK. Like a burger. I should know that. I should know that. It'll be Burger King. Yeah. She's just signed with BK, Bare Knuckle Boxing there, fighting championships. Y'all go check her out, man. Support her. I'll definitely be watching and looking and hoping that you the best. You know, maybe you'll knock somebody out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, well, let me just tell you, okay, with a bare knuckle, I'm getting them before they can get me. You know what I mean? I'm not going in there to play. I'm not going to go in there and play at all. Like,
hey, so. and don't stand in front of them.
No, I will not. No, the name of the game is to hit and not get hit. So that's what I'll be doing.
I want to say hello to my man T-Bone out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Thank you for stopping in. T, yeah, I see you all the time. I see you work. Appreciate you coming in and watching the show. It's been a wonderful show today. Looper says, that's what Looper says for sure. He said, "Keep your mindset, Brooke." Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so keep your mindset for sure. No doubt about it. Any questions you got for me, superstar? Any questions you got for me?
No, I'm good.
Okay, well, hey, that's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on the show, though. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, and matter of fact, this show is being broadcast on Instagram, X, which is formerly known as Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. So it's been broadcasted out and also into some boxing combat groups as well. So look, hopefully, good luck with with the bare knuckle stuff, I'll be checking on you and seeing how things are coming along.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Brooke.
Thank you so much. See ya.
All right now. Great show today. Great show. Appreciate that, man. That was. We learned a lot. I learned a lot, today and that with her, and I thank you guys for watching. Man, it's beautiful. We had a great show today. Awesome show. Young lady there, 38, doing her thing. Man, I tell you, it's tough though, man. Whew, somebody, boy, get hit in the face. Whew, I'd be ready. I'd be ready to wrestle and fight and everything else. But you can't do that. Can't do it that way. For sure. Shout out to everybody, man. I thank y'all for coming on, watching the show today. It was really good. I'm going to be back on hopefully next Sunday, where we'll have the former champion for Canelo, Ryan Rhodes out of the UK. Hopefully we'll have him on. But I'll definitely be back on Sunday and next Thursday. Hey, man, we got to get out of here. Thank y'all for checking things out. Look, we get ready to get out of here. We'll see you later.
That's our time on The People's Show. Join us next time with our new exciting guest. To be a guest on The People's Show, email dmost42@gmail.com. The People's Show is a J. York production. Thanks for your comments, call-ins, and questions.